I asked myself, do I want to do this the rest of my life? And the answer came back no. Well, if I don't want to do it for the rest of my life, I probably don't want to do it tomorrow.
What is up, champions? Welcome to another episode of Champion Reads, where we talk about best-selling books and their best principles to help you out with your best life. I'm your co-host, Willie Blake, and also here with our other co-host, Mr. Ian Sturmer. And today we're jumping into the last episode of the book for this month, How I Built This by Guy Raz. And I am really excited about today's topic because as we were talking in the back room, we were going over quotes that we would talk about. We're thinking about topics that we can discuss for the very last one of this book, because there's so many different principles that we can jump into. And the topic that we chose to jump into was, do I want to do this the rest of my life? Do I want to do this the rest of my life? And it's such an interesting question. Do I want to do this the rest of my life? Because I think back to when I first started this whole journey moving forward in self-development. It was back in 2018 as I was in the middle of college trying to figure out my life. And I was sitting in classroom. And as I was sitting in the classroom, I was wanting to be an accountant. And as I sat there, I thought of that question, do I want to do this the rest of my life? And as I sat in class, and my professor, who was actually like 26 years old, was teaching the class, I thought, do I want to be an accountant the rest of my life? Get my CPA, either have my own business or go to the big four of accounting. And I just didn't. I didn't want to sit behind a desk all day, typing in numbers, doing those things. I wanted to get out. I wanted to travel. I wanted to teach other people. And even more than that, I wanted to actually talk with individuals and do things like this that we're doing more than I wanted to accounting. And I think the big breaking point of me transitioning from the accounting to business management now into what I'm doing was that I knew how to do accounting. So I wasn't quitting accounting because I didn't know how to do it or that. But I wanted something different for my life. For the rest of my life, I wanted to be doing something different. And I think that's a key component to when individuals, champions like yourself, are out there wondering if you want to do something the rest of your life. I know, at least for me, if you know how to do it and you're not stopping it just because it's hard, and you're stopping it because there's actually something better to go into, that might be a good point to go over. Ian, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic of, do I want to do this the rest of my life?
Yeah, that's always a big question. And there's so many people I've talked to that have faced that struggle. And mutual friend of ours, founder of Champion Circle, John Kovacs Jr., talked about his moment of that. He was working in, I believe it was public relations for a real estate firm. And he dropped his pen and it rolled under the desk. And he climbed under the desk and he picked up his pen and he sat under his desk. And he thought, I never want to come out from under this desk. Just realized he hated what he was doing. John's a guy who loves to talk, for our listeners who have heard him on here before. So public relations seems like the great thing, but he realized that just wasn't it. And I think that happens so much in life. Something sounds good. Oh, there's good money in this. This seems to fit in it. And when we start getting into the nitty-gritty details of the job, we realize that I hate this. This is not what I want. So I guess when you're looking at the big picture, a lot of things sound great. I want to be a professional basketball player. Well, great. Are you ready to spend 10 to 12 hours a day practicing dribbling? Well, no, that's boring. Are you ready to spend time in the gym getting your core strength build up? Well, no, that's boring. Well, you're going to hate the job then. So look at what are the small details of what you're doing? What's the little stuff you have to do? And do you like that? Because then you're going to find a passion for what you're doing. Yes, you'll get the endorphin rush when you make the basket or close the deal or create the product or whatever it is. But do you love the work it takes to get there? Do you have a passion for that side of it? If you do that, you're going to love what you're doing. And there's probably no way to know that until you start doing some things. Start working, start seeing what you love, start researching it, start doing some soul searching. There's a lot of start to this conversation, I'm thinking. But it's better to start now than start 20 years from now and realize that I've been miserable for the last 20 years. And I really should have been a balloon animal creator. Because that might be your passion. So I'll turn it back on that note. Balloon animals, let's go.
Okay. Funny enough, the last time we were up in Idaho, I think it was for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, with my in-laws, and we went to it was Christmas because we do this every Christmas. Went to a restaurant, and all of my in-laws' family was there, and this balloon animal individual came around and was doing balloon animals for all the kids. And so obviously I had my girls, and he was making the balloon animals. And we're asking him, how much is it? And he said, oh, no, this is free. Love any tips if you have them, but this is free. And I can tell you that he was there for an hour. And me and my brother-in-law were talking about this. He made, I think, $160 based off of just tips for doing balloon animals for the kids. And I'm thinking, $160 an hour seems like a pretty good deal to do that. And yeah, that's why I had on the balloon animals. But when it comes to like doing stuff for the rest of your life and off of what you were talking about, Ian, it's interesting because there's so many different components about like, do I quit? Do I not quit? Do I stick it out a little bit longer? Do I move on to something better? What is it? Is there a finite answer that I can be able to just know if it's the right time? And for John, it was sitting under the desk and being like, I don't want to be here anymore. For me, it was sitting in the classroom thinking, this is great, but I want to not be sitting behind a desk, right? There's like these defining moments of which happen to where it's like, is this really what I want to be doing? And I don't think that after John did that, or after I did accounting, that it was just like we threw our pencils down, we threw our desk or chair up into the air and just be like, I quit, and walk out of the room. But it was for that moment that started to open up other doors and opportunities. Probably from the question of, instead of how can I do this the rest of my life? It's just like, what can I start doing now so that I'm not stuck in the same situation? If this isn't something that I want to do, what can I do little by little to start getting out of it?
Love that idea. And we live in an amazing world. There are more opportunities here right now than have ever been in human history for things to do. So I'm going to probably misquote something from the book, but if it's the last thing you think about when you go to sleep and the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning, that's probably your passion that you ought to pursue. And there's so many ways to do that now. So I'm going to share a failure of mine, because failure is a step to success. That's somewhere in this book as well. I love audio gear. Love listening to music. I kind of get off on listening to, looking at stereos and speakers and all the components. So I thought, what if I could just open a store selling stereo stuff? Well, that's really hard, but what if I could just open a store importing headphones from China? Turns out that was really easy to do. Super easy. Making money doing it's a whole nother story. And I failed miserably at that side because I didn't put my research into pricing and sourcing and all those kind of things. But the opportunity is there if there's something you love. Now, this is something I told my son as he was in high school and thinking about careers. Said you either need to pick a career that you love or pick a career that will pay you enough money that you can do the stuff you love in your spare time. So he's in school studying video games, which apparently is picking a career in something he loves. So he can do that. But there's opportunities out there with online merchants, with, there's probably a multi-level marketing company for any interest you have that'll earn you some money on the side. There's jobs out there. There's things you can do. What do you do in your spare time, and would someone pay you to do that? One of the examples here in the book, and again, I forget the names of the people in them, but a wonderful lady who made a bunch of hand lotions. And she was African American, and there was a little bit different skin needs than what was on the market at the time. But she loved doing these, and she would give them to her friends. And finally, somebody said, "Oh, you should, come down to the church yard sale, bazaar type thing, and sell some." Oh, nobody's going to want what I have to sell. But she did it, and she sold out right away, and people kept asking her for more. And she realized that first thing she thought about when she woke up in the morning was making these creams. And the last thing she thought about going to bed was making these creams. And so many people loved what she did and reached out to her that she was spending more and more time, and realized she didn't have to go to a real job anymore. She could do what she really loved. And now she is a well-known entrepreneur. Alicia and Me, or Janie and Me, or something like that's the company. Anyone knows that, put it in the comments for me and help me out there. But she found something she really loved. And I know Coach Willie has gone through the same thing. We talked a few years ago, and you were deciding, do I take this steady 9 to 5, actually it was earlier morning than that, make money, or do I step into something that I love, which is being a coach and helping people and making people, or giving people the resources they need to move forward in life. And that was your passion. It was not getting up it was a really early morning. You got up at 4 a.m. or something to go to work.
Yeah. Work started at 4, so I had to wake up at like 3:30 or 3 just to get there on time.
Yeah. So if any of our listeners have a passion of waking up at a horrible time in the morning, leave a note for Coach Willie, and he'll let you know about that job where you can enjoy your passion of not sleeping at night. But what's your passion? What do you love doing? Love photography, taking pictures. There's a market for that. Do you love playing on the computer to design things? There's a market for that. Do you love being outdoors? I had a friend that took a break from a job doing project management in computers to go out and do some lawn mowing because she just wanted to get out into nature and move and do things. There's an opportunity there. If you love something, there's an opportunity. So go do it. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. How did you get so wise, Ian? You're right on the money.
A lot of failures.
A lot of failures. Yeah, amen. A lot of failures. Gets what's the quote? The master is the master because the master has failed more than the novice has tried. You just got to keep trying. As you were talking about passion, it reminded me a lot about my journey with it. And the biggest part was it didn't all come at once. It didn't come all at once because I started, like I said at the beginning of the episode, back in 2018 when I was doing the whole self-development starting journey and stuff. and I knew I wanted to just teach. A year passed, and now instead of teaching, I'm just like, oh, maybe speaking. So then I tried speaking a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome, but I also want to incorporate more of like one-on-one. So then I went into success coaching, life coaching. And if your audience is everybody, no one can hear you because they want to hear to their specific pain point. So then I became an empowerment coach. I wanted to empower people. And then that went to the discussion that Ian and I had of, well, you've had dyslexia your entire life. Why not try dyslexics? And I'll be honest, like after that, I got excited about it, but I wasn't totally sold on it yet. I went home and it was like a week of just mulling it over, thinking about it, and until I'm like, let's just try it. And it was then putting it into action, which then helped me realize that this was more of something I wanted to do. And not just the dyslexics, but then a year after that went into dyslexic adults. Then from dyslexic adults, now more focused into high performance and career coaching, right, for adult dyslexics. And it was interesting because that was like a 5-6 year expansion on that. But it was the step-by-step movements of me taking continual action forward and doing things in those areas of me knowing that I don't want to be an accountant. I don't want to just be in business or marketing. I want to be more in the teaching realm. I want to be more in the knowledge industry, you could say. And it was that 6 years of just continually doing it to now I'm here today at where I'm at. And I'm still might not be doing what I was called here to do or what I'm super passionate about, but I'm moving forward and taking action anyways. That's the key to it. You got to continually just take action, however big of steps it is, because the doors will come when your preparation meets opportunity.
That's true. If you wait for your ship to come in, it's going to take a long time because you're in Utah now and there's no ocean there. So there's no ship that's going to get there. True. You've got to go to the ship. And you've got to take those steps. It's very rarely a sudden, wow, this is it, bolt of lightning, and you've found your true calling. You refine it, you test it, you try it, and you find out what direction that goes in. But you never stop trying and refining. And if we revisit this a year from now, you're probably going to add another step in your journey of refining what your true passion is. Or maybe you're bicycle racers is what you want to deal with, making off the top of my head there. I don't know if that's a market or not, but the more your passion, the more it expands. You don't know what you don't know until you know what you didn't used to know. How's that for a quote off the top of my head, trying to figure that one out?
Very nice. Very good quote.
Thank you. I'll take whatever compliments I can get. But it's understanding your passion. Because you can build it into your passion, whatever it is. And I'm stumbling there some, but I'm going to go back to what I was going to say before. I often ask myself, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I think that's a great question. My wife responds that I should grow up first, then figure out what I want to do. But that's not as much fun. So I think we should always be asking what we want to be when we grow up. And if that's, building toys or, I know people who build Legos and sell what they built. For people like me, it would be too lazy to actually put it together themselves. They've made a career out of playing with Legos. There's a job out there. There's a career for anyone. If you love something, I can pretty much guarantee somebody else loves it too. And if you're willing to put in the work for what I can pretty much guarantee there's somebody else out there who loves it and is not willing to put in the work. And if you can make something you love faster, cheaper, more convenient, or less stressful, someone will buy it. and you can build it from that. So find out what you love. Take that time. You don't need to quit your 9-to-5 job to start thinking about what you love. You honestly just write down what you do every day, and you'll probably be spending a lot of time on model train sets or watching movies. Think, okay, how could I get a career in that? Start brainstorming.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because it's interesting. Alex Ramosi says this. He says that it's not about what you do from 9 to 5, which is what you do for work, right? It's what you do from 5 to 9. So you got 5 to 9, from the 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then you got 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Thinking about that again. You got 5 a.m. to 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., and you got 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Those are the hours in which are before and after work that really help to push yourself out of this. Because Gary Vee was a big thing of just like, quit your 9 to 5, go after it. And that was years ago before he learned a little bit more and was just like, people shouldn't be leaving their 9 to 5. They should be asking themselves, what are you doing from the 5 to 9s? Because it's what you're doing in there that's going to create then the opportunity for you then to leave your 9 to 5. So ask yourself, champions, what are you doing from 5 to 9 and 5 to 9? Because that might reflect and give you more time than trying to figure out how can I replace the 9 to 5 right now.
True. I think we all have 24 hours in the day, and we all love to say, I have no time. I don't have time for that. The fact is we do. We're just choosing to spend our time on something else. And when you make a choice to spend your time on what's important, you're going to find that fulfillment. I hit COVID and my job kind of disappeared that I was doing. So I thought, what a great time to catch up on Netflix. And I finished Netflix. So I wasn't happy. I enjoy watching TV and movies, but that didn't bring me any fulfillment. That was empty calories. If I took time to learn a new skill, there's so many things I could have done in some of that time before I realized and started doing a little bit. Like I said, we've all got that time, a little bit of time before we go to work, a little bit of time after we go to work, a little bit of time at lunchtime. Doesn't take 8 hours a day to decide what your passion is, to start learning some skills. But it does take starting to learn some skills before you're going to do anything else. Just read a little meme the other day. And I know talking about a meme on a podcast is difficult, but the caption on it was, I joined a gym 3 months ago and I'm really not happy with the results. So today I'm going to head down there in person and find out what's going on. Joining a gym doesn't do anything. If you don't go there, you got to go there. You got to exercise. As much as I like to say exercise is 80% mental, and that 80% I've got down, it's just the other 20% I'm working on. Okay, bad jokes. But the reality is there is a mental component first. Discover what your passion is. Start thinking about it. And no matter what you're doing, you have time to think about what your passion is. With the possible exception of brain surgeon, please wait until you're on a break, not while you're at work. But other than that, take time to think, what do I love to do? If I could do one thing the rest of my life, what would it be? We probably all played that game. If you could have one food the rest of your life, what would it be? If you could have one CD for the rest of your life, what would it be? Well, if you could have one job the rest of your life, what would it be? If every job paid the same amount of money, if every job took the same amount of hours to do, what would you do? Everything else being equal, what would you choose to do? only caveat is you have to do something. It has to be some kind of work. But if there was no limitation about how much money you would make or how well the job would go over, anything like that, what would you do? And I would open a record store. That's mine. That's my passion later on. And I'm doing some things to earn more money. So hopefully I can be in a position to do that. But there's kind of that's my retirement dream job that I'm working towards. Now, because of this podcast, why am I not doing that right now? Well, I'm getting ready. I'm starting that. I'm taking baby steps. But what's your passion? Because the fact is, I can still sell them online. I can still build up and prepare those things and take those steps. So there's my excuse. What's your excuse? You're already doing your passion, Willie, so you don't need an excuse.
Yeah, I try not to make excuses. They don't ever tend to work well for me. I don't know about you champions, but whenever I do want to do something, I have to go all in or not. Because if I don't go all in, I'm just programmed that way from when I was a kid and conditioned the way. I should probably get rid of it. But I was conditioned in the way of if you're not committed to it, then things can just fall on the side. For example, before I had my accountability group, it was just myself, keeping myself accountable. And I wasn't as integratable as I wanted to be. And so as I was trying to lose weight, I would be so strong the first couple days and then lose motivation and then eat that one donut, eat that one piece of pizza, eat that one slice of cake. And then just having that, then you're just like, well, I did it once, might as well just give up the rest of the day. So then you freaking eat the whole pizza or eat the whole cake, wake up in the morning and be like, well, now I got a sugar craving, so I need to go have more donuts. I'll tell you, cake and donuts and pizza are on my mind because I'm doing 75 hard. But with all that, as we wrap this up, Ian, something that you mentioned really stuck out to me, which was if everything was equal, pay, the pay that you earned, environment was good, you had a great working environment, everything was just equal, everything was great, what is it you would do? Because when you take out all the factors, everything that so many people give excuses for, time, resources, connections, money, whatever it is, if you got rid of all of that, what is it you would want to do? And it's such an impactful and powerful question. What would you do? I know for myself that what I would do is what I'm doing right now, which is coaching, which is speaking, which is being on podcasts like this to where we can share ideas and gain perspective and tell stories. I love it. I love doing things like this. And I've just had the great opportunity to work my way over the last 6 years to this point. And it's going to continue going forward. This isn't something I want to give up. This is something that when I hit retirement age, I'm still going to want to do it. I'm going to do this till the day that I die because I love what I'm doing every single day. And I've been blessed to be able to walk through those doors and opportunities. For you champions, what is that for you? What is something that with everything pushed aside that you want to focus on, that you want to do the rest of your life? It's an empowering question. Ian, I'd love to hear your final thoughts.
Yeah. Let me just clarify that when I retire and get my record store and sit there, there's going to be breaks where I have somebody else working and I come back for these podcasts because I love this as well. Love this side of it. This is not like a side gig that I don't care about. I love this. I love the idea of helping people out, helping to empower other people and hopefully make their life a little easier by sharing my foibles along the way and the things that I've learned. So I'm going to not contradict you. I'm going to offer a different perspective a little bit. It's
Sure.
great to go all in, but a lot of, Guy Raz in this book, How I Built This, a lot of the things started out as a little side job, a little hobby, something here and there, and gradually built it up step by step. So there's no right answer. Some people fell into a business or jumped into a business and went all in, and it was sink or swim with that. Other people dabbled a little bit. The Chickaboom, I believe it was, the kettle corn company, they bought a kettle corn and they would do it like on a Saturday. And that was it for years until it built up more and more. So there's no right answer to how you build yours. There's no right answer, except you have to have a passion for what you're doing. You have to work hard. You have to be willing to fail and to stand up and keep marching on after that. There's no secret of success. Find your passion, work hard, and work smart, and do that until you're successful. And that's the only path there is. So start out, let's find passion. I'll leave it with that.
Love it. And to bring more clarity into it, all in the micros, patience with the macros. I don't change my life dramatically because I have a wife and I have kids. I have individuals who I need to provide for and take care of. But it's in the micros. It's in the daily actions. It's in the 2% change that we make every day in which we can go all in. Whatever that goal is for you, just figure out one thing that you can do today and do it. That's you going all in. And then be patient as you go through it, because eventually it will happen. Patience in the macro, all in the micro. And with that leads us to the end of us in this episode of this book, How I Built This by Guy Raz. If you found inspiration in this episode, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. You can find us on all the major podcasting platforms, as well as you can go to our website, mychampionscircle.com, where you can find the link to our podcast, link to our socials, and everything else going in the Champion Circle universe. Till next time, my friends, continue to be awesome. Continue to be the champions of your own life. And always remember, do things that you love with passion. And always remember the question, if I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, do I want to do it today? We'll see you on the next episode of Champion Reads.